Hello guys, this is Shawn from Korea, and many of you wanted me to make another English video. And sorry I couldn't make one because I was very busy doing my own work, make Korean videos, and also raise my baby. So the last English video we had was a month ago. So that was this one. And after that, we had several or dozens of videos. So I'm just gonna go over the important ones. So the first one would be why we should invest in quantum computing and also into IonQ. So this was related to NQIAC's NQI report. So this is basically a organization that recommends the US president on how to make policies regarding the quantum computing. And in June 2nd, the NQIAC made a report on NQI refreshment. So NQI is the organization that was gathered on Trump administration, and this is in order to accelerate the QIS, quantum information science areas R&D. So in this report, what they're saying is they wanted to enlarge the fundings, organizations, and also infrastructure investment. So we know that the US, Europe, China, those three entities are the leading governments or the countries of quantum computing, and they're investing tons of money. And the US NQI wants to invest more and to bring more talent and also to protect US quantum technology. So they don't want to harm the development, but also protect it from the enemies. And also they want federal governments or federal agencies to first adopt the newer quantum computing or quantum cryptography. So this means I think IonQ will have quantum computing sales in US agencies, especially on US Air Force or US military. So I think quantum era is already here, and the US government already knows it, so they want to enlarge this law and the funding. So big money is coming in. If we invest in the correct place, we will have a big investment return. I had a second interview with Desmond, who is a big fan of or big investor of IonQ. So I have this video here. Its title is in Korean, but you can watch it because the interview was in English. So I had great insight from Desmond. And then the next one we can talk about is me comparing the Righetti and IonQ. Chad Righetti, who was the founder of Righetti, he quit his job before even picking the successor. So I thought that was a very negative thing for Righetti. And he recently joined QDNL, which is one of the venture capital funds focusing on investing quantum computing. So he sold his shares continuously before he left, and then he joined VC. So I think his interest was more on earning money instead of actually developing new quantum technology. So I think IonQ is doing very good on that aspects because the talents are gathering and they are customer oriented and no important people is leaving the company. So I think investing in the early startups, we need to focus more on people, not on the numbers. And then for the next video, I found an article of US analysts saying why we shouldn't buy IonQ stock. So I analyzed that article. So on the June 6th, they had an article on Seeking Alpha written by a person called Manuel Paul Diepold. And he said that IonQ stock prices has recently been doubled and the current market capital of IonQ is too high compared to its risk from commercialization and also stocks getting more issued and the short report. So he thinks quantum computing is has a bright future, but IonQ CEO is continuously saying quantum computing will have ChatGPT moment near, but IonQ is facing financially stronger companies such as IBM, Google, Intel, and so on. So he thinks this is a chance to short, which I don't think is correct. So quantum computing and IonQ is a very complicated area where conservative investors can start investing. So many of the analysts say this place is too risky, but I don't think that's true because I do my own DD and I know the future value of IonQ. So it is true that IonQ has a little revenue and risk is high. And also, 25% of their actual revenue is actually from Maryland University, and they think it's a bad thing, but I think it's not a bad thing because it's only a minor revenue from their contract. And what we should focus is the future revenue, not the current revenue, because the current revenue is too small. And when we look at the employees coming in to IonQ, we see Rima Alameddin, who's from NVIDIA, who's been working as a sales representative, and also we saw Pat Teng, who became as a head of engineering. He's from Amazon and he also worked in Apple. So those people coming to IonQ is showing the IonQ's confidence, and we might not see what they see. So I think one of the best reason why IonQ is doing great is because all those kind of best people are coming into IonQ and they're not quitting. And I believe that Peter Chapman has always said something and achieved it. So I think him saying that the quantum computing will face ChatGPT moment in 2 years, which is 2025, and they will reach 64 IQ at the time. And in the 64 IQ, we will be able to see the broad quantum advantage over the best supercomputer. And we know that from the recent interview from Peter Chapman with the quantum puzzle, he said that the gold box or the QPU, next generation QPU he brought, is expected to have 64 IQ. So I believe we already have the prototype for the 64 IQ and they're on their way to develop it and to commercialize it. So I think he's not bluffing and he's saying something true that'll become true in the few years. And then next video is IonQ's blog of quantum networking. So I found that IonQ is continuously saying or uploading blog regarding the quantum networking. So I think what they're trying to do is before they release it, they want people to know how important the quantum networking is. So basically, they had 3 consecutive blogs regarding the quantum networking. So I think that's a hint that they will be releasing a product that contains the quantum networking. So they will be using photonic interconnect, which contains a lot of QPUs networked together. So we know that the customer values not the physical qubits, which doesn't mean anything. What they want is really useful qubits, which we call is algorithmic qubits. So we want to make the quantum computer useful, not just to have a good number and become not useful. So quantum computing is a future that's coming, and we don't know who will win, but I believe IBM and IonQ is leading the way, and IBM is spending a lot of money to establish their locations all over the world so they could get the platform first, and IonQ is trying to do that, but they are more focused on few customers to make the cases that really is valuable and also makes money for the customers. So we have to know what we are investing in. So risk comes from what you don't know, as stated by Warren Buffett. So we had IonQ having a better financial target for this year. So on June 23rd, they had their bookings raised to $50 million for this year, which is double compared to last year's bookings. 2023 bookings expectation was raised 25% to 45 to 55 million. So that's about 2 times compared to last year's booking, which is about 24.5 million. And they recently had a $28 million amount of contract with Quantum Basel. So they will be selling a single quantum computer, but that will be 35 IQ, and this will be upgraded to 64 IQ in several years. So I think they already have 35 and also 64 in testing. And they also mentioned that IonQ and Quantum Basel will manage IonQ systems 50 to 50. So I think that means future revenue by operating the quantum computing as well. I brought the interview from Chris Monroe with one of the data center organizations. So that was a podcast. So quantum computing is not fantasy anymore; it's a reality, and the mainstream technology is superconducting method and ion traps. And superconducting method still has fundamental physical challenges like qubits yield, how to manage the wires, and also it consumes a lot of energy and also spaces. But Ion Trap also already solved this problem, and we only have engineering problem, just like how to manipulate laser beams. So it requires high level of laser technology and also how to miniaturize parts not including the QPU. Chris Monroe said that the commercialization and value creation is not after 10 years. It is a lot closer than we think. So his interview, I followed up a lot of his interview, and his statements have changed a lot. I mean, in a positive way. When I first heard about his interview, he wasn't sure about what IonQ will be doing, but now we have passed the research phase and we are in the manufacturing phase. And also due to the acceleration of technology, Google, IBM, Microsoft expects 10 years or more to have a valuable quantum computer, but IonQ thinks it's a lot closer. So he showed his confidence in this interview. And then I showed my portfolio for June. So I have about 25k shares, and my average price was around 5.5. And I also own few Tesla stocks on semiconductor and Google. And then let's see, we I have a June IonQ employees coming in and coming out. So we have few good talents that quit from IonQ, which is Tessin Abidi, Director of Optical and Laser Systems, and Malik Miller. He's also related to optics. So optics related director and engineers left, but we also have a lot of good talents coming in. VP of Sales, Product Marketing Leader from D-Wave, and Senior Engineer. So as a new employees, we have Ilya K, who's a co-founder and CTO of Entangled Networks, and Bo Zhao. He was a Quantinuum's engineering advisor. So she came from the competitor, and we also have Jerry Schindler. And we have Philip Farah, who worked as a consultant in McKinsey and also in Cisco Systems and Gartner, which is one of the best consulting firms in the world. And he now works in VP of Sales. And then we have Nikhil Hingra. He's from D-Wave Systems, and he was a director of product marketing. So we see a lot of competitors, talents coming into IonQ. And Yuhee Aiko, she was a Duke University's PhD researcher, and AJ, he was a Blue Origin mechanical engineer. So we have great talents from big tech as well. We were worried about two core talents leaving the company, but I think it's because IonQ already has big optical researching team. I think they hired more than 10 people this year, and among that 10 people, only 2 left. And what we should focus is we got a new leader in IonQ, who is Philip Farah. So he is a VP of sales, and we also have Nikhil, marketing leader. So we see sales and marketing people coming in from good competitors and also from best consulting firm. So we think IonQ is ready to sell the product. So they're getting more talents to work on how to sell it. So on marketing and sales. And we saw the Quantinuum and D-Wave talents coming into IonQ, and also from Blue Origin and Salesforce and Cisco Systems. So we see that good talents are coming in, and we see that not a lot of people are leaving IonQ. So I think they see something good in IonQ. And IonQ already increased their employee number on this year about 20%, and compared to that, Righetti reduced 30% of workforce. Arc Quantum fired 20 people, and D-Wave is short of stock, so they had to release more shares and also had to borrow money, which is the amount is almost similar to their market capitalization, $200 million. And then I watched all the interviews from the Quantum Basel. So from there, Peter Chapman, IonQ CEO, said that IonQ will be developing next generation quantum application with Quantum Basel, and IonQ systems 80% is exported from the United States, and large portion is from Switzerland. So they expect to have a larger cooperation in Switzerland, and in 35AQ they'll be showing something good on the quantum machine learning, and in from 64AQ we'll see quantum advantage on the pharmaceutical area and so on. And also from IonQ EMEA director Noam Zakei, who is from IBM, and he worked there from IBM for like 30 years. So I think he's one of the core talents in IonQ. And he said that IonQ is still trying to penetrate the European market, and they successfully did that by having a contract with Quantum Basel. And the reason why is because to develop more components for the IonQ's technology, and Switzerland has best talents in the Europe and also has a great partners. And Quantum Basel CEO Thomas Stahelen said that the quantum computing, especially the ion trap, is not deployed in Europe yet. So they wanted to provide those kind of new technologies to the customers. So that's the reason why they had a contract with IonQ. And in Quantum Basel's lead quantum and deputy CEO, Dr. Frederick Flother, he said that IonQ is successfully giving access of quantum computer to many people. And on the technological side, the on-site quantum computer will let them to have a private access and also to have a good security, and that will lead to game changer. And on the psychological side, by having the physical quantum computer in Switzerland, people will see the actual quantum computer and they will realize that the quantum computing is not a fantasy anymore. So this will bring a big change. So he thinks this contract was really good. And from my opinion is that this was the first contract for IonQ to sell the quantum computer on site externally from IonQ. So they will first deploy 35AQ and then upgrade it to 64. And I believe IonQ already has locations for EMEA and also for Canada, and they're looking for an Asia branch. And they're growing and expanding. I did some research, and IBM is also related to Quantum Basel. Their mother company is Uptown Basel, and Uptown Basel joined IBM Quantum Network, but they didn't buy the IBM Quantum Network. So I think they think IonQ's Ion Trap computer is better than IBM superconducting computer by looking at that. And this was just the first contract, but I know that they're establishing the manufacturing facility in Basel because they are already have another or more contracts in discussion. And we remember that CFO Thomas Kramer talked about a big contract coming in. So I think that will be bigger than this. And when we see a series of contracts of IonQ, it will lead to IonQ stock price to go up and never come back to like $4 or $5 anymore. So in last year, in December, IonQ stock price got lowered to $3, but we saw $15 recently. So I think related to ChatGPT and AI, people are interested in quantum computing, and people know that IonQ is the best in the quantum computing field. And the last one is me analyzing the interview of IonQ CRO, Chief Revenue Officer, who is Rima Alamedi. So those people who doesn't know about her, she worked in Cisco Systems as sales manager, and then she moved to NVIDIA and worked there for 6.5 years as a vice president of enterprise sales. So she is very talented. And what she said in the interview was that she had a great result in Cisco and NVIDIA, and she worked more than 30 years. And she wants to have the same result in quantum field as well. So she's doing her very best. And she did not only sell something, but she has a experience on establishing a sales or marketing team. So she expects to have a lot of good people hired by her in IonQ. So I expect she will establish a very strong and talented marketing team and sales team. And she talked about the manufacturing facility. So they are on-premise system buying demands from big organizations, government agencies, and also from research centers. So I think those are the potential customers. And she also reiterated the ChatGPT statement. So she said that IonQ's quantum computer will show a shocking and very good result in 2 years. And IonQ is already showing a good result in quantum machine learning by having a less data set compared to the classical method. And in 2025, when we reach 64 IQ, we'll be able to see a high value application developed by quantum computing. So I was wondering what gives Rima or Peter that confidence, and we saw that from the Quantum Basel interview with Peter Jeffman, and he said that 64 AQ is expected to be in the next generation chip. So I think they already have the prototype. So just the overall thought is that after a month, I still see IonQ is doing its best by looking at the talent acquisition and also from the roadmap achievements and also from the first quantum computer selling and also from the core talents interview. And rest of the videos is just me talking about how to be rich and what I experienced while I get to this level. And I also went to Quantum Korea and met Jung Sang there. And I also visited the IonQ booth and met Anant. He's the head of marketing. So you can watch this video. The interview is in English. I also have the Korean subtitle. So you can take a look at this and see what Anant explains to me about IonQ. So that's it for this video. So I will really try to make at least one video in a month. So thank you all for watching this video, especially for the English viewers. And I hope you guys have a great week as well. So I'll talk to you guys maybe next week or next month. Thank you for watching.